Some people assume that terrorist organizations like ISIS or Daesh, Boko Haram, and Al-Qaeda represent the real Islam, as they follow and practice the original teachings of Islam explained by the Holy Quran and demonstrated in the life and practice of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of God be upon him. The reality is that all the incidents of terror and devastation perpetrated by these terrorist groups are, without exception, against the clear-cut teachings of the Holy Quran. Furthermore, absolutely no support for such acts of brutality can be found from the life of Prophet Muhammad of Islam. These acts, which are perpetrated by these barbaric groups, falsely invoking the name of Islam, genuinely grieve all true and peace-loving Muslims. They are based on such brutal and inhumane ideologies which have nothing whatsoever to do with Islam. When we look in depth at the Holy Quran and the life and character of Prophet Muhammad of Islam, peace and blessings of God be upon him, it becomes clear that the early Muslims never initiated any battle or armed violence, and they never forced Islam upon others. Extremist organizations are in fact the antitheses of Islam, the teachings of the Holy Quran, and the life and example of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of God be upon him. For starters, extremists violate a fundamental principle for warfare allowed on religious grounds, as stated in this verse. And fight in the cause of Allah against those who fight against you, but do not transgress. Surely Allah loves not the transgressors. Here, Allah has stated that the condition for jihad or holy war in Islam is for self-defense only. Extremist organizations violate this verse by attacking indiscriminately and transgressing the rights of others with extreme cruelty. They want to fight those who do not wish to fight them. How deeply and clearly their actions contrast the commandment in this verse. Similarly, Allah the Almighty commands Muslims to never exceed the limits or to transgress during any defensive armed engagement. He says, "And if you desire to punish the oppressors, then punish them to the extent to which you have been wronged. But if you show patience, then surely that is best for those who are patient." Do the terrorist organizations follow this commandment? Of course not. Instead, they go out of their way to kill innocent civilians, some of whom are even pursuing humanitarian causes at the time of capture by these terrorists. To suggest that the terrorists are acting on Islamic teachings is an abomination and an atrociously unfounded claim that can only be made by Islamophobes who are intent on defaming Islam out of their own ignorance. According to the Quran, hostility can regrettably be resorted to only in self-defense. The Quran states, "And fight them until there is no persecution and religion is freely professed for Allah. But if they desist, then remember that no hostility is allowed except against the aggressors." Allah the Almighty says that if oppressors incline towards peace and extend a hand of reconciliation, then the Muslims should grasp it and not question whether it is a ruse or they are actually being sincere. And if they incline towards peace, incline thou also towards it, and put thy trust in Allah. Surely it is He who is all-hearing, all-knowing. Along with the commandment to establish peace, the Holy Quran upholds the sanctity of life. It says, "Whosoever killed a person, unless it be for killing a person or for creating disorder in the land, it shall be as if he had killed all mankind, and whoso gave life to one, it shall be as if he had given life to all mankind." On the other hand, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of God be upon him, gives the definition of a Muslim and a believer as follows. A Muslim is the one from whose tongue and hand people are safe, and a believer is the one from whom the people's lives and wealth are safe. Hence, by definition, a Muslim should never cause any harm to anyone. If he does so, he no longer remains a Muslim or a believer, according to the criterion laid down by the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of God be upon him.